What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Harry Potter Reviewed here on the Geekiverse YouTube channel and podcast services around the globe. I have my magic wand here.
Oh my god.
Wingardium Levy! I don't think so! This is Star Wars Reviewed here on the Geekiverse YouTube channel and twitch.tv/the Geekiverse. John, break it.
No, this is really the Elder Wand.
Oh god.
JT, I hope you see that, you son of a gun. I love you, but Star Wars is the superior franchise, and that's a hill that I die on. I'm Josiah Leroy. Today, we're talking Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Sorry that I just yelled there. I got really excited. With me, look at Mr. Tim Tales down there. T2. Tim, are you ready to talk Return of the Jedi?
I am ready. We finished the trilogy, and I'm drinking a beer to celebrate. Usually this is a coffee, so...
And what beer do you have there?
I'm drinking another half. It's a double mosaic dream.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just silky smooth. Gotta love it. Tim, I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but that you broke one of John's glasses with a Frisbee this week.
I might have. From here, I just threw it. It went out the window and then found its way to another glass.
John had told me in confidence, as well as the rest of the world, yesterday that he broke a glass, and I said Tim obviously was over playing with a Frisbee.
Because that must have been it.
The real story is I was flossing that day, and I threw a Frisbee out my window, and then it just hit.
I totally forgot the flossing reference, and I'm like, how does that dance have anything to do with it?
So I had to tell you guys this. I was at the movie theater, and I ate popcorn.
What? For what
floss?
What?
Sing 2. I went my son. My wife had popcorn. She's next to me, and I'm like,
oh, okay, all right, Tim. Okay, so mine wasn't during Spider-Man.
Right,
it's like I have to eat popcorn now. I'm gonna get made fun of forever.
You'll do it for Sing 2, but not for Spider-Man No Way Home. Come on, man. Where are your priorities?
I am offended and hurt.
If I get something in my teeth during Sing 2, I don't care as much because it's a distraction.
Good point.
If I'm distracted during Spider-Man, that's not okay.
You and your logic, that's a good point, Tim. Okay,
I'm just here to be rational,
Yeah,
that's why you brought me on the show.
Maybe you didn't also break John's glass, but that's probably a story for off air.
Honestly, if I was there and I had a Frisbee, I probably would have. So,
also with us, Mr. Baba Yaga, Disruptoid. John, look at that lightsaber. We're recording Revenge of the Jedi, huh? Yeah?
I'll take it. I love my Harry Potter wand, my Elder Wand. I love Harry Potter a lot, but there's no arguing that a lightsaber is just a lot cooler than a wand.
I completely agree. You saw that expensive wand I just had in my hand that I broke into.
You just snapped it. You didn't care.
So when we were scheduled to record this, what was it? Was it last week or 2 weeks? I don't know.
Last week.
Yeah.
I was not going to do a stupid intro, and all of a sudden the Harry Potter discussion broke out in our group chat that day, and I was like, I can't let this go. I wouldn't be me if I would let this go. I went outside, like truly like an idiot, sweatpants, t-shirt on. We had 2 feet of snow, got boots up to my knees, and I'm digging through my backyard, the wasteland that it is, try to find
I need a twig. I need a wand.
Which is funny to me.
You could have just gone to Ollivanders.
So
it's just funny to me because JT woke up that day and he just chose violence.
He chose violence.
Out of nowhere. It was like
it was so unprompted.
Who likes Harry Potter?
Yeah.
And then it's like it's better than Star Wars. Like, holy shit.
Okay, bro. All right.
It was I felt so personally attacked. All of a sudden, he was coming for me. Not really, but I was
he was.
Did I say something like on one of our shows that I was just like, oh, it's not Star Wars? I don't think I did. I think he just was like, I'm going to wait and talk about Harry Potter. Yeah. I thought it was going to be a great conversation. I walked right into that buzzsaw.
Yeah,
it was a tough spot because I do love me some Harry Potter.
Me too.
Like Harry Potter. I do, but damn it to hell if I was going to let him disparage the name of the great Star Wars. Get out of here.
The name of Ben Kenobi.
Oh, don't you dare. All right. Return of the Jedi. Thanks for joining us. We have had a lot of fun with this series so far. If you haven't caught the first 2 episodes, go listen to them, watch them. We've done A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, of course. Here we are for the 3rd episode doing Return of the Jedi. It's got some relics here for the video viewers. I've never taken this out of like this weird casing. I think I got this at like a garage sale. This is like I don't even know what year it is. Oh, 1992. Kind of cool.
Awesome.
The classic trilogy box set. Who do you guys think is the face on the cover? If you had to
Luke.
guess a character.
The classic trilogy. C-3PO.
Like the okay.
Yoda.
Love that one. Classic.
Nice.
I see Luke on there. He's just not as big.
Oh, I should have specified. Yeah, Tim's right. There's no 3PO though, John. So sorry about that.
Ooh.
Which one we got here? The special edition that came out on DVD. Got the limited edition that came out on DVD. See, Tim, you're getting a lot of Luke now. And then I love this one. This is the Blu-ray Steelbook that came out a few years back. That's just Palpatine. That's a good one to me.
That's what it looks like when you're on like you can't sleep and you wake up and you're like, oh, I have 2 kids to take care of. That's what you feel like.
I guess I'll find out. Hopefully never run into Tim in the middle of the night there.
Yeah.
You ever notice with those steelbooks, Joe?
And I'm like, let the hate flow through me as I'm like walking into their bedroom.
Tim's just this mean jerk.
Yeah.
Not even put his body
Go
to the
to
day.
bed.
But Joe, with those Best Buy steelbooks, you ever notice that they're all villains, but one has Yoda on it for some reason? The front cover, all of them have villains. I'm pretty sure, besides one, and it's just randomly Yoda.
And Yoda has what, like 10 minutes of screen time?
I think you're right because Vader's
It
got to
was
be
a
on New
prequel.
Hope. Right?
Vader. You got Grievous on one of them. There's a stormtrooper on one of them.
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I don't know who's on episode 2, but yeah, I think
it might be Yoda. It might be Yoda.
Maybe that's the one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird that they're all villains, but one of them. I forget which one it is, but
yeah, that's kind of funny.
it is.
Return of the Jedi, a difficult task, closing out at the time the classic Star Wars trilogy. 1983, this movie comes out to high expectations after the craziness that we saw in A New Hope and an incredible sequel in Empire Strikes Back. So why don't we just get kind of our quick 101 reactions on this? Tim, I think this is freshest in your mind based on you rewatching the ending here. Just kind of hit us with your thoughts on the movie.
I liked it a lot. I think as far as the trilogy goes, this is probably on the bottom of what I loved. I think they do a good job of kind of closing it out in some ways they don't. But I kind of like the closure you kind of get and the developments that you kind of see with Darth Vader. But, part of me is kind of let down because I feel like for as bad as he was, he kind of takes a lot of steps back in the third movie. And I really enjoyed it. I think there's a lot of good action pieces on it. I really like the battle at the end was really cool to me. And I really did enjoy parts of it. I just didn't love the whole thing. So I just think that a lot of what they did well. They didn't do like everything well, but it's still a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. It was just, for me, it was tougher to follow up, the movie before with that one. So
yeah, how do you do that, right? Like Empire Strikes Back is just gold. It's so good.
And if I'm being honest, I think if I would have not watched that so fresh in my mind prior, I might have felt differently about the movie. But just comparing the two, I was like, oh, like this is still really good, but it's not to the level the first 2 movies were, in my opinion. So,
well, stay tuned later in the show. We're going to rank Return of the Jedi where it stands against The New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. We'll see if John and I are in the same boat as Tim. But for me, Return of the Jedi it is special because this is Luke Skywalker that most people remember prior to the sequel trilogy, right? Like this is the guy you kind of dream about and you get through the comics and in the novels prior to Disney taking over and resetting the canon. So that's important. There's a lot of really, really good resolution. I feel like if the sequel or if the trilogy were to just stop Star Wars right there in terms of the Skywalker saga, never felt like Star Wars needed to continue on. Of course, I wanted more Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I never needed episode 7, 8, and 9 to feel fulfilled when it came to the saga in general. I love Palpatine. I think he's an absolutely incredible character. I really actually feel strongly about the way Darth Vader develops in this because he's just a monster in Empire Strikes Back. And
right.
Here Luke wins, right? Like he pulls him back to the light, which was previously impossible. It had never happened before in those stories. So lots to love. I do think sometimes when I look back, the Jabba the Hutt stuff maybe drags on a bit. Even the stuff on Endor is kind of hit or miss. But as a whole, kind of a cohesive collection of scenes that makes up this movie. I really enjoyed it. Of course I did. John, kind of your thoughts on Return of the Jedi.
It's funny you mentioned Jabba the Hutt and the Endor stuff, because I think that's like most of what they added with the special editions in this movie, like the all of the CG and all of the extra scenes that have been added, especially that beautiful music number that we get in Jabba's palace. I love this movie. I think it really hits for me. It's like you said. We get the Luke Skywalker that we've always wanted, and the Luke Skywalker that we remember, obviously. But even more so than Luke, we get the promise of what the Jedi are. So in the first two movies, it's so tough to step back from all the Star Wars knowledge we have, and even just knowing what a Jedi is as a casual fan of Star Wars. It's so tough to step back and realize that in those first two films, we're just getting breadcrumbs. We're just learning about the Force kind of as like a theory. We're seeing a lightsaber for the first time, but nothing too crazy is happening with it. We there's a couple of Jedi mind tricks. There's not too much going on with the Force, with Force levitation and stuff like that. We get teases of that with Yoda training Luke there. But to see Luke Skywalker walk into Jabba's palace and just take over with everything he's got. He's using the Jedi mind tricks. He's using Force pushes. He's just such a menacing force, pun intended. So the way that movie opens up just always gets me like, okay, we're here. Like this is the Return of the Jedi. Like this is so cool. And then I like the stuff in Endor. I think it's fun. Actually reminds me like a lot of Rogue One. I'm sorry, the opposite. Rogue One actually reminds me a lot of the final battle on the moon of Endor. Just the vibe of Scarif is very similar to Endor to me. So I've always loved that whether it's intentional or not, the comparison there. Think about a couple other things too. Like if there wasn't these recuts, this would have been the first time that we've seen the Emperor in person. We would have gotten that weird hologram, old lady looking thing in Empire. But the first time we get to see the Empire the Emperor in person, also would have been the first time we actually see Jabba the Hutt. Like, we had just heard about Jabba the Hutt, and he's kind of this menacing, looming threat that's always right behind Han Solo, tracking him down, and he finally gets caught in the last movie and is going to be delivered to Jabba. But back then, man, Jabba was just an imagination. Nobody knows what he's supposed to look like. Is he a human? Like, what's supposed to be around with Jabba the Hutt? So imagine seeing this movie in theaters for the first time, not having watched any of the special editions, and just see like that opening sequence saying like, oh my God, that's Jabba the Hutt? That thing is gross. This is insane. Like, I just think it does a great job. It wraps things up in a good way, and I agree with you, Joe. I think the Vader stuff is handled. There's a reason Darth Vader has always been looked upon as one of the best villains ever. I mean, I think you've got Joker and you've got Darth Vader, and it's really tough to argue anybody else in between there, right? So there's a reason that he's on that pedestal, and I think this movie does a great job humanizing him and showing, and it's twofold because it's Vader's story and it's Luke's story, right? They both come full circle and they both end up kind of in the same place, but Luke gets to fight another day. I just love it. I think it's really good, and I'm actually curious to see where we land on this with the rankings. I know we're only 3 films in, and there's really only wiggle room in a certain spot here, but very curious to see how it ends up.
I will save my thoughts on that till just before we actually do the ranking.
Could we just talk about how nice it is? Like the point John mentioned, they really did use a lot of the Jedi stuff, which I feel like you didn't see in the previous movies, which to me was awesome. Like John said, like even like throughout the entire movie, Luke wasn't afraid to use his lightsaber, and I feel like that's the big thing in all the previous movies. Whenever you saw him, he always had a blaster in his hand. He didn't like immediately go to the lightsaber. And towards the end of the Jabba the Hutt was probably one of my favorite parts, where it was like, hey, I actually brought my lightsaber, and now I'm gonna just destroy everyone because I actually know how to use it, which was awesome.
Yeah,
and just to me was awesome. And the only critique I had is how easy it was for Leia just to kind of choke Jabba the Hutt out with the chains.
Yeah,
but pretty awesome to see her do that.
He's not a very mobile guy, right? He's not. He can't really move around a lot.
Such a big baddie. It was like just.
But he's a big baddie, but he's surrounded by muscle.
Yeah.
He has.
If you think about like a mafia, that's really how it is.
Right, exactly. So. You take down the big guy, it's gonna be relatively easy, unless you're talking like Kingpin or something like that. But we can't
think of the giant ginormous guys before him.
Exactly. So I just can't stress enough how much I think the intro, the first couple of scenes in this movie are just so perfect. It's some of my favorite stuff in Star Wars. Just like it's almost like a celebration of the cast. Like everybody just gets slowly reintroduced. Like it starts off with the droids knocking on the door of the palace there, and then you see who you don't know yet as Leia sneaking in. Like, who's this mysterious creature? You got to get that dynamic with the negotiations between Jabba and how that goes. And I don't think anybody saw that movie for the first time, thought that was Leia. But to see that introduction, see that as her, see Han unfrozen from carbonite, and then all of a sudden Luke comes in, like you just get slow. This happens in 15 minutes, but you get like the slow celebration of that cast that you learn to love for the first two
you
movies.
Get every teenager's fantasy.
Oh yeah, the slave Leia, yeah, absolutely.
But and again, don't get me wrong, I did love the movie. It was just, I think the biggest thing for me is I had constantly compared it to the movie before it, and I think that's where I struggled sometimes. Because
it's definitely tough when you watch them back to back. You're talking, 2 weeks apart, and you just watched the one that for a lot of people is the pinnacle of Star Wars. So yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
Think about the things this movie had to do, like it, and what we take for granted. Like this movie established a lot of things. Like you said, we didn't really have a lot of Jedi stuff. Of course, it was talked about, but we see Luke, who's a kid, and he's almost a skeptic because he's got that blaster, and Jedi don't carry blasters, right? But he's learning. We get Yoda, who's for all intents and purposes about to die by the time we finally see him. We see Ben Kenobi, who we saw the lightsaber fight in A New Hope. It's nothing to write home about. We see Darth Vader kind of progress through those two movies, but this is where things take off. That green lightsaber, by the way, is one of my favorite lightsabers in all of Star Wars. It's just classic. It's beautiful. It's so finesse. It's like Luke, kind of like in a way. Like it's chiseled down in terms of his Jedi training. Like he was kind of perfected along the path, and that lightsaber represents a lot of that to me. You guys mentioned, or John, you mentioned first 15 minutes and how the characters kind of one by one are in. And I feel like Star Wars traditionally does a good job of this. In A New Hope, it's a little bit different because we know nobody, but they do layer in the characters, including Luke, just at the right time. I think about Force Awakens, and I love how they brought every character into us there. You get a tease really early on in the movie in the first conversation about General Leia. You get Poe Dameron. We get a quick pan around of BB-8. We meet Finn. We see Kylo Ren. It's just all boom, boom, boom. It's like, here's your new characters, everybody. They do such a good job of it. And we'll talk more about Force Awakens, obviously, in a few weeks' time. But this movie does a really good job of it because they had to answer a lot of questions. Think about it. What is Luke's fate going to be? He just found out some devastating news. What's that relationship going to look like with Darth Vader? Is Darth Vader lying? What's going on there? There's so much to consider. Is what's happening with the rest of the crew? Like, are the rebels going to get in and get out of Tatooine to rescue Han? What is Han's fate going to be? Is he going to be killed off? Is he going to kind of be useless after this carbonite? Like, so much that they had to answer in a short period of time. And we had to deal with the thought of, hey, when are we going to see the Emperor, right? Like that's a big deal. He's supposed to be the big bad behind Darth Vader. Darth Vader's kneeling to this guy. Excuse me. So there was a lot to answer, but I felt like this trilogy is just so cohesive. It's so good. It's obviously clearly on one page throughout. And we can't say the same when it comes to the sequel trilogy for a number of reasons. But this one, man, it just flows so nicely, regardless of what you think of each of the movies as standalone. I think it's really, truly a three-part. George Lucas, what a legend, man. He did a great job with his hand on all of this.
Great job, George.
Good job, Georgie boy. Box office. Any guesses as to what this did? Already adjusted for inflation like the last two.
Idea on this one.
700 million.
Tim?
I'd say like 850 million.
475.
Oh wow.
Well,
I had no idea.
Okay, but is that adjusted for 2022 inflation? Because things are really expensive.
Yeah.
No.
Do you see the price of houses nowadays?
I think I might be close.
2022 recalculating. Oh, 800. You were right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Do it.
Yeah, 475, relatively consistent with the past two there. This includes all the re-releases, by the way. So you go through all, let's see, 1983 is the original. They did a small re-release in 1985. 1997 special edition, of course, and then a very, very small re-release in 2020 that was just a few $1,000s. So do you guys remember your first viewing of this? Is it consistent with what we've already talked about in the last few episodes?
Yeah.
Why don't we go to John first?
Yeah, I've got the same story. When the Disney purchase happened, if you didn't watch the other two episodes before this, but I was kind of a very casual Star Wars fan. I was very aware of what Star Wars was. Even when the prequels came out, I was just aware of Star Wars, and I had a couple of Star Wars toys, but I wasn't out there going to see the films in theaters. I would catch them when they came on TV and, watch them if they were on, that kind of stuff. But when the Disney purchase happened, I'm like, okay, Star Wars is about to get reignited. Time for me to, try to become a fan of this franchise. Fell in love, absolutely. Watched the original, all 6 movies in release order, back to back to back in the course of like a week. So it's tough for me to separate those memories on when I watched them, because it was all within the same week, and it was kind of like I had this start of 1 through 6 flipped Star Wars experience. It was just an awesome week, and it just made me fall in love with the franchise.
Gotta love it. In a moment here, we're going to queue up the original trailer for this movie. So if you're watching along at youtube.com/thegeekiverse, you kind of be able to watch this trailer with us. If you're listening on podcast services, you just kind of have to listen for a few minutes there. Tim, do you remember your first viewing of this one specifically? Anything different?
Yeah, same old song and dance. I watched with my uncle. It was, at my grandpa's house, and it was, kind of the trilogy at the end. I was very, very curious on how it would all end at the time. But like I said, back then, I really didn't maybe understand 100% of what was going on just because I was younger. But all I knew was I loved it, and I loved the idea of being a Jedi and all that fun stuff that you kind of think of when you're a kid. So, but yeah, same old story for me. So
for me, again, same story that I saw this, Western New York at the Galleria Theater, whatever it was at the time, 1997, when they did the special edition. Went with my dad. And what's funny is I remember being like so hyped about this because I was hooked at this point as a fan from seeing the first 2, and I stayed away from watching it at home. I wanted to see it on the big screen. And I'm so happy and I'm really lucky in hindsight to have seen it that way. But I remember just visuals from like trailers that would play before the special edition movies came out. And I remember seeing the Luke and Vader fight just for a few seconds. And I'm like, that green lightsaber is so cool. I can't wait to see that. I remember seeing just certain images, even like Darth Vader slowly turning his head when Luke's getting shot with the lightning. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got Han. Like, how does Han get out of the carbonite? I had so many questions as a 6-year-old when I went to see this. And it was so fulfilling. Just such a memorable, wonderful time. And then, hey, 2 years later, got to go see Phantom Menace. So good times all around. John, I'm gonna pass it over to you if you're ready for the trailer.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have it up and ready to go?
Yep. I am ready.
You guys are ready? Then go ahead and play.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. The next chapter in the Star Wars saga, Return of the Jedi. The battle between good and evil rages on. Join the further adventures of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, C-3PO and R2-D2, and Darth Vader. A journey to alien worlds.
It's a trap.
A rebellion against oppression. An epic of heroes and villains. An adventure as vast as the universe. Return of the Jedi. Coming to a selected theater in your galaxy.
So I feel like this is the first trailer that feels like a modern trailer in some ways. Like, it feels like, all right,
yeah.
we know what we've got here. A few years have passed, maybe the film industry has come a little bit too, but like, it feels like this is a very, very I don't know, conservative trailer, but also it's showing you what you're in for. I feel like the other trailers we've seen, if shown a lot, have been very weird tonally. Like the one we got last time, voiced by What's Han Solo's name? Yeah, Harrison Ford. Like, just like this weird campy stuff. I think they really figured it out and, knew they had to get people pumped up for the finale of this. Also worth noting, it's the first one that I found that's on the Star Wars official YouTube channel. So this trailer they actually have uploaded. None of the other ones were.
Dude, this trailer is great. Like, I was smiling the whole time. Really liked it. A few things to note. I feel like, first of all, it doesn't give anything away. I mean, well, it shows Han Solo briefly, but you knew he was going to make it, right?
Right.
So really cool there. The lightsaber, I totally forgot about that. So they show Luke with his blue lightsaber, even though that was not going to be the case because they wanted to hide that. There were also tech issues with that. I have to look it up. There was a reason they changed it to green.
They're using blue screens, weren't they?
I don't know if that was specifically it. I thought it didn't show up on Tatooine.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of that fighting there's blue sky in the background. I'm 99% sure that was why they changed it to green. You saw blue right there, which is kind of cool.
It might be something in the prequels I'm thinking of, that somebody couldn't pick a lightsaber color because it was a problem with what they were using to screen off to actually key out the sets that weren't there.
Interesting. We'll have to look at that.
Yeah, I thought I remember something. We'll find it.
But I love seeing that blue lightsaber. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Last note is the red text for the logo, Return of the Jedi, right? Because this is one of my notes. It was originally called Revenge of the Jedi, almost up until release. And then George Lucas changed his mind and kind of said, no, Jedi don't get revenge. That's inaccurate, which I totally agree with, by the way.
Especially with the resolution of this movie and, the way Luke comes full circle with not taking out Vader, not striking down the Emperor. What that reminded me of is that one of my favorite Funko Pops I have is Luke with the all black everything with the hood up, ready to stroll into Jabba's palace. Like, this is my favorite pop. I got this in the hard protector and everything. This is my baby.
That is pretty. I don't purchase many of those, but I pre-ordered one that's coming out in March, and it's Luke holding Grogu from Mandalorian.
Oh, I didn't know that's a thing. Don't tell me that. I'm moving right now. I'm having a fire sale with all my pops. So if you need some, let me know. I got a couple hundred that I'm trying to get rid of before I move here. But
it's so the problem with me is I would like too many of them. And that's why I've tried to limit buying them. Like, I get them as gifts sometimes, really appreciate and love that. But this one, I was just like, I can't not get Luke Skywalker holding Grogu. Like, are you kidding me? Tim, talk us through thoughts on the trailer.
I really liked it. Like, I'm kind of just piggybacking everything you guys said. I felt like it gave you enough to get you really hyped up for it, but not too much where it gives you too much info. Just watching it back, it was kind of highlighted a lot of the main points of the movie throughout, and I think that's kind of some of the heights for me when I watched it. Just overall, I think it, like John said, just did a better job of a more modern approach of, these are all the scenes, kind of the narrative saying like, hey, this is what's happening, and I really liked it. It made me want to go watch it again. So
it made me. I can't believe I didn't talk about how much I like the speeder bikes on Endor when I talked about how much I like this movie. That is
what
such
a nice tease.
Ewok hops on it.
Like, just all it's just so creative. It's just so well done. It feels very real. I mean, a lot of it's obviously practical because that's the technology they had back then. But just the way they're hopping back and forth, that whole scene with Luke and Leia, I think is one of the coolest ones in the trilogy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That was pretty awesome. Like I said, all the action. I feel like they did. That to me is the best of the series as far as action goes, aside from the beginning of the second movie. Yeah, Battle of Hoth is one of my favorites. But right after that, I mean, I feel like every action scene in this movie was done so well.
It works.
And that's probably one of my favorite things about the movie is just what they do with. They're very creative. So.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Speeder chase, especially, man. So almost surprised that hadn't come up yet. Just really well done, really intense and fun, and well balanced. Like, it's the best chase sequence I think we've had in any Star Wars movie to date. That includes some of there are some chase sequences that I've enjoyed in the movie since, but that one's just epic. Like, that's the original.
Because Luke uses his lightsaber on the speeder too, right?
Sure does.
Which to me is again the evolution of Luke in this movie of not being afraid, like being so comfortable with his lightsaber and being a Jedi, like a Jedi Knight now, that he's just like, hey, I'm going to whip out my lightsaber while on a speeder and just kind of deflect the bolts away because he's just so confident now. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Force is strong in his
every time, really in Star Wars that lightsabers come out, I get really excited, especially as we got to Return of the Jedi, because you see Luke's confidence. He's like, This is coming out. You're all in trouble. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. And
He even
yeah,
saw it at the end. He's like super confident that he can take out his dad if he wanted to, and that's
and he tosses it away. Look at that
Yeah.
confidence.
Yep.
Just love it. I want to go a little bit out of sequence here and just start talking about some of the notes that I had on the movie. Please feel free to jump in. Give me your 2 cents on this. We already talked about Revenge of the Jedi being the original title. Do you guys, have you seen what the alternate opening for this movie actually was?
I don't think so.
Okay, so this was a deleted scene that didn't make its way to circulation. It was always rumored, but it found its way to the 2012 Blu-ray release for the first time. These were all on Blu-ray, so you can see it. You can look it up on YouTube, I believe. It's the first scene, like the very first thing we see after we get out of the crawl, and it shows Luke building his lightsaber, like basically screwing the last parts of it together.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That would have been cool. Yeah.
It is cool. He ignites it. We see the green lightsaber. During all of that, we hear Vader like hardcore trying to channel and connect with Luke. He's just Luke over and over again. So it's really eerie and interesting. But George Lucas didn't want it for a few reasons. He didn't like the tone that it set off the bat. He wanted to introduce Vader a little bit later on. And past that, he actually didn't want to give away that Luke was, in fact, on the Jedi path by showing the green lightsaber. Now, me watching this for the first time back when I did, I don't think I ever was like, is Luke going to be a bad guy? But at least in George Lucas's mind, he thought that it was going to be a little ambiguous. So when we see Luke enter Jabba's palace and he's got all black on, that's not normal for a Jedi, right? They're usually, we see like Obi-Wan Kenobi in the brown robes. He's wearing black. He also chokes the Gamorrean guards. That's not normal, right? For a Jedi, that's very Darth Vader. It's like, whoa, what's going on with Luke here? So he wanted that little bit of question in everyone's mind, and it's kind of interesting. However, the scene is really cool. Go check it out. Talking about Jabba the Hutt. Jabba's first on-screen appearance, chronologically, and I think it's funny that it's the best he ever looked. This Jabba the Hutt looks
no doubt
pretty damn good.
It's all practical, right? Like this is something that's actually there. Makes a difference.
Yep. And what is sad is the digital version that he put in for A New Hope for 1997 was okay. It wasn't bad. But the one he redid for the Blu-ray or DVD release after that is purely awful.
Looks worse.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So weird.
Like it almost would have looked better if you clipped a Hutt out of like the Clone Wars animated series and put him in there.
Yeah.
That's bad. I'm not usually one to criticize a lot of the special effects as much as most people rightfully should, but that one's just awful. So that came to mind. I'm like, Jabba looks really good. Like, for a big guy.
Right.
Fun fact that I want to share. So the night The Force Awakens came out, we had kind of a Geekiverse get together. We had just like a crew of 7 to 10 people over at, I lived in an apartment that was right next to like Regal Transit. I was right there. So we could walk to the movie. We went too early, like 2.5 hours early, and they wouldn't let us in. They're like, you actually can't even be in the building. You have to leave, because they were worried about too many people being there. Weird, right? So we went back and we played Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. And I think I played against everyone, which is why I want to play something like this against you guys. And John mentioned against some of the people he knows in the Kind of Funny community. The question I won on was that basically they asked, what is the name of the character that what does Bausch, so if you don't know what Bausch is, that's Princess Leia dressed up as the bounty hunter Bausch in that helmet. What does Bausch hit their head on in Jabba's palace?
Oh man. Yeah, I don't know.
It was a wind chime. And I'm not here to totally brag, but I spit it out pretty quickly. And one of the Geekiverse guys goes, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
That's funny.
I'll never forget it.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Oh no, I totally agree. But at the same time, I was like, "What the hell? Don't pick on me."
Joe,
so
I'm pretty sure you and I were in the same theater for The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure we saw it at the same time.
Were.
We'll dive into that and unpack that when we get to that episode, because I actually have my ticket stubs still.
Oh yeah, I can look up mine. I cannot wait to talk about Force Awakens. Let me tell you. This question is geared towards John, just because I love this. By the way, Tim has not seen Episode 9 yet. Correct?
Nope.
Good. Love it.
I haven't even seen like any spoilers, which is very impressive.
Really? I was going to ask that too. Okay.
Yep. And then
Okay.
good job. I muted on Twitter for a while.
So we got to get to this so we can all come over to Joe's Geek Suite and we can watch on the big screen.
Yeah, we're doing
John, my question. If you had to pick one, Salacious Crumb, you know that character? The high-pitched character that laughs on Jabba's palace?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Salacious Crumb is the name. That's hilarious.
Got it.
Or Babu Frick.
Babu Frick. It's not even close. It's not even close. I love Babu Frick so much.
I love the t-shirts that exist that just say salacious on them because I think it's a wonderful word.
That is a great word.
That is a good word.
And also love seeing that whatever. Oh, this is, man, nerd 101 here. He's a Kowakian monkey lizard, they call it. I love that you see that character being like fried up in Mandalorian in one of the early episodes.
Right, that's very cool. I just don't think that he's anywhere near as lovable and as awesome as Babu Frick. He's got such a short little role where he's just kind of screaming in the palace for a few seconds. That's about it. But
Babu is legendary.
He is.
I'm saving my Babu fun fact for episode 9, so you have to see that in a few months. Talked about Luke.
6 weeks.
That's
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's right. We'll get there. Trust me. I'm gonna do my best here. John, I look forward to the eventual, from a certain point of view, version of Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I can't wait to read about, hopefully, what the Rancor keeper is feeling.
Ooh, I'm sure, dude. I'm sure that's a thing. I'm sure that's his.
I really felt bad when that happened. I was like,
it's really sad.
I always forget about that. I'm like, man, that's like because like it's sort of played off as a comical scene. Like, you know, he's kind of like, oh no, my thing. But then you start to think about it, it's like, man, he's got a relationship with that thing. Like it's deep.
It's like
he's been around forever, for my opinion.
Oh, it has
he
been.
does it.
Yeah.
You know. So
what this year was 83.
Yep. So next year.
Next year we should get. Yeah, I'm sure they're working on that right now.
I love those books. I got to get Empire.
Let's find out now.
What's that?
Someone to give him a quick message.
We
need to find out now. What do you
do it? Do it right now.
They're working on it.
He was probably thinking a lot about sad things. I can sympathize. But I just thought that would be funny to get a lot of.
That's funny. Real funny.
No. A lot of characters from Jabba the Hutt's palace point of view would be funny, is what I'm saying. That would not be funny. But there's a lot of characters in there. I want to know what they're doing. Bunch of crazies.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get one from the Rancor's perspective, because we got stuff from the Wampa and from Tauntauns. Like, seriously, the second book is wild.
I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we get both. That would be very interesting. So Boba Fett, he falls because of his jetpack, right? Like, very unceremonious.
Yeah.
Han Solo accidentally, of course, ironically, Han Solo, the guy he captured, his last capture, accidentally hits him with that
practically
stick.
blind.
Practically blind.
Yes.
Accidental. Why it's ironic is because that's how Jango Fett died, his dad, in Attack of the Clones. Because he got trampled by that beast, his jetpack wouldn't take off, and that's how Mace Windu basically gets him. So, man, those jetpacks, you got to figure that out.
Got to watch out.
That's why I thought it was funny that the Mandalorian didn't have one early on. I was like, oh, he evolved. He figured out why that's a bad thing.
Nope.
I was wrong. Let's jump to, in the middle of all this, favorite character from this movie. Who's the it character, the standout performance that you just can't go without?
It's Babu Frick for sure.
Babu Frick. Wrong movie! Salacious Crumb, that's your pick.
No, thank you.
John, what was your character?
Who's my character? That's a good question. That's a good question that I should have an answer for you. I think I'll go again with Leia. I think I picked Leia in New Hope as well. I don't know. I think that every time I watch these movies, she more and more becomes like a standout as like the B main character in this movie, or in these movies. I think you always think about like Luke and Han Solo, and it's a trio of friends, and as we find out in this movie, siblings. But Leia just kind of always steals the show for me. I think that she's like very clearly the most mature one. Always has her head on straight. The relationship with her and Han in this movie is, I think, awesome. I love the full blown. They're all in. The way that's handled is really good. Just can't get enough of Leia.
I'm reading Leia the novel by Claudia Gray right now. It's really, really good. Claudia is one of the best authors in this current canon of Star Wars, in my opinion. And in a nutshell, so far, this is about Leia discovering that her parents, Bail Organa, and her mom, Brea Organa, that they are really sowing the seeds of the rebellion, and they're doing it away from Leia's notice. So Leia thinks that her parents are ditching her, but they're not. They're actually they're not going off and partying. They're going off and planning the Rebel Alliance.
That's
it's
super
pretty
cool.
awesome.
That is, I can vouch for that because I'm reading the third book in the High Republic, which is also written by Claudia Gray. And of those 3 books, those 3 mainline books, Claudia's writing is by far the best. Like it's it's just I just can't put it down. It's so addicting.
I can't put my finger on why I really like her books. I think she's just a good storyteller who understands what makes characters either relatable or lovable.
Yeah,
maybe that's the same.
Her character writing's awesome, and at least in this book that I'm reading, The Fallen Star, within chapters, she's hopping around between different characters, even in chapters. In other books in the High Republic, they do that a lot, but they end a chapter and hop over to a different character. She finds a way to pack these into the same chapter and just make that chapter flow from character to character, setting to setting, and she just does such a good job with those little micro bits and just characterization. It's awesome.
Yeah, glad to hear. I'm excited for the time when I get to that. Also, she did Lost Stars, which is a book that would not have been high on my anticipated list when it came out, but holy crap, it's maybe my favorite of this era of the Star Wars canon. Go check that out. Very cheap on Amazon now. My character I want to jump to just ahead of Tim here is Palpatine. I think Ian McDermott is such a good actor. It's so crazy. So he's like a stage actor in England. That's what he does. And he has been in, excuse me, very few movies. Like Star Wars has really been it. And every time they do a new trilogy, they bring him back. He's just got such a presence about him. And it's so funny. You know, he's such a good actor in part because when you see behind the scenes interviews with him, he's like the nicest guy in the world. He just seems like a sweet man. And here, he's the emperor.
When I dove into these movies, like I said, back when that was it 2015 when we heard about the Disney purchase, or maybe 14, something like that, it blew my mind that it was the same actor from 83 that came back in 99 for Phantom Menace. I didn't think it was. I'm like, man, how did they get this emperor guy to like look so close to the guy they used in the other movie? I'm like, how did they? Like, that's crazy. Then I ended up looking it up. I'm like, oh my god, it's both Ian McDermott, and like, I'm sure his cousin Sean's a great football coach, but I think Ian he takes it.
All right, listen.
Too soon. I'm not ready to talk about Bill.
That's true. We're not gonna talk about it.
John, the force is strong with you when it comes to dad jokes. You are going to harness that beautifully one day. I really, really appreciate that. Tim, you and I can appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
Man, if there is a role I was born to play, it is the role of dad, and always having dad jokes on the mind. I am unapologetic about that. So Palpatine in this movie, just, man, he sets the tone so good from his quiet kind of demeanor and seriousness towards Vader and this threatening silence and way he goes about himself, and the respect and almost the terror that the Imperial officials have when they find out he's coming to the Death Star. And then later in the movie, he loses it, right? Luke makes him lose his mind when he says that he's not going to turn to the dark side. And it's just so well executed. And if you don't have Ian McDermott in that role, I fail to imagine how impressive that character and how important the character of Palpatine would be to Star Wars lore after that, because Palpatine's got his hand on everything. So Ian McDermott as Palpatine is it for me. Tim, who's your character of the movie?
Well, just to kind of carry on what you were saying about Palpatine, I think he does a phenomenal job, and just the enunciation on some of the stuff he says, it is your destiny. Like, I just feel like he just does it so well. And just overall, and even like earlier on, Luke's like, your confidence will be your downfall, because that's like he's just too overconfident. And that kind of what does it when Luke doesn't do what he wants and goes to the dark side, he kind of loses his mind. So that was my number 2. I can't not say Luke. I just can't do it. I want to, and I can't. When I watch this movie, that's what I think about. I just think about where I started at A New Hope and where I'm at now. And it's everything I wanted Luke to be, because I wanted to be a Jedi. I want him not to be afraid to use the lightsaber. when he kind of confronts everything and, kind of going to back to that spot with Palpatine when they're on the ship looking at everything that's going on, and he's in the background saying, your friends are going to be captured and they're going to fail. Everyone's going to fail. You can just kill me with the lightsaber. And kind of seeing him kind of teeter on that ledge of the dark side and the light side, kind of like not really sure 100% where he wants to be and where he could go. And kind of seeing him just kind of keep coming back to being like, this is what I'm supposed to be. And seeing that progression of him staying true to his character, where his dad didn't, kind of to me is just a lot of it's awesome. I love it. I really do. And I just love his progression throughout the entire movie because, in my opinion, this movie is about the return of the Jedi. It's the return of Luke becoming the Jedi. And, as much as I knock the movie on some things that I don't like and maybe it's not my favorite, I do love it. It's everything I want a Jedi to be. It's, kind of the ending where, he finally gets through by being true to himself, to me is awesome, where he's finally like, I'm not going to do what you want. I'm going to stay true to myself, even if it means I'm going to die. And to see, Darth Vader kind of come to his rescue and see him finally take off his mask for the first time. It's everything I want it to be. So, which is, very odd. They were able to kind of rewind time to put Anakin Skywalker's real character in the Disney movie at the end, which is amazing to me. But
yeah.
But I just couldn't not say Luke. I just can't not do it because the first movie in A New Hope, it was Luke for me, and this one it's Luke again, just because it's kind of the conclusion of that. So
he's a character I most associate when I think about if you were to say Return of the Jedi, I word association would be Luke Skywalker,
right?
If not Palpatine. I think you're spot on with all of those. Really, really good answer. John, did you have something to add to it?
You talk about how he comes full circle and he has to turn his father. He doesn't kill his father. The breadcrumbs were always there. That was always the goal. When Yoda talks about him, you have to become a Jedi. You have to confront Darth Vader. You have to confront your father. They never say defeat or kill or dispose of. It's always you must confront him. So to see Luke overcome that anger and do what he had to do to become a Jedi, it's such a good payoff, and it's so true to what we've been told in these last couple of movies what the Jedi are and are supposed to be. And worth noting that Return of the Jedi, that's plural, man. Luke's not the only one that's returning as a Jedi. Anakin is, he's coming back to the light side. He's a Force user. He's on the light side again. Got 2 Jedi.
I just loved how close he was to going to the dark side. He was so close that he's like, not going to do it.
That's so well said. It's not usually in the front of my mind when I think about this movie.
Yeah.
But you saying that it's plural there because Anakin comes back, that's such a beautiful thing. It's so awesome.
If we can be honest, it really is about Darth Vader.
Well, George Lucas viewed episodes 1 through 6 as the tragedy of Darth Vader. People think this movie is about Luke Skywalker, or the saga is, but in at least George Lucas's mind, this whole thing is actually about Darth Vader, and I think that's really, really awesome. It's sobering in a way. With Luke, I think it's so awesome. Like, he refuses at most points to lose his temper. It happens sometimes, right? We saw. He refuses to move off of his pedestal that he's going to remain good and be a Jedi, and he's going to keep his focus. Now, he gets a little help from Anakin at the end, right? But it's just so encouraging. And we take for granted a lot of things that Star Wars gave us, and this gave us Luke Skywalker, as we talked about earlier in this episode. This is the Luke Skywalker we all remember. Now, I want us to remember some of these points as we get a few weeks down the road into Episode 8, The Last Jedi, because we're not going to talk about it now. A lot of people think that is not Luke Skywalker that we see in The Last Jedi. That's not the Luke Skywalker, so to speak. I can make an argument for either side, but I think I make a strong one for why Luke Skywalker actually, that is who the character was meant to be. We'll get there. That's a tease for a few weeks away. But man, I could talk about that end sequence all day. I've got some more notes on it. Back to the middle of the movie. Yoda is with Luke. I love Yoda's sense of humor. I love that he's trying to dodge answering Luke's question about whether or not he is Vader's son by dying. He basically pretends he doesn't hear it the first time and rolls over and says, "Sleep. I must sleep." What a jerk. Yeah, pretty funny. I love Yoda, man. Yoda, I think is my favorite all time Star Wars character. I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Can see it.
There's a few other characters in the conversation, but I always come back to him. In the new High Republic novels, just the
Just
hope
the
that,
fact
or the
that
thought
he's there. Yeah.
just even makes it better. For
when I told you that the plan, not the plan, but the next trilogy of High Republic is going back another 150 years before these events. So maybe we get some primetime Yoda like on the council, like, you know, doing Yoda stuff. That'd be sweet.
Dude, he almost kicked Count Dooku's ass, and he was 800 years old. I can't wait to see what he was when he was a young spry 500 or whatever it was. You know, that'd be great.
Listening to the High Republic just makes me want to watch it, and like the quality of The Last Jedi, see that, like
the Light of the Jedi,
or the whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, the modern, the quality of the movie.
Okay, seeing what they could do with The Last Jedi.
And a movie quality of like The Last Jedi, and seeing that like in cinema, like just from what I've listened to already, I'm like just the part where she's in the field and the lightsaber spinning. I'm like, how awesome would that be to like see that?
Wait
till you watch episode 9. Just saying.
Dude, you know what I can't get out of my head? The Star Wars Eclipse trailer. I could watch that on repeat all day long.
Right.
Like, talk about High Republic, baby. We're just, this is the tip of the iceberg, man.
Scratching
We're
the
getting
surface.
into good times. It's gonna be freaking awesome. Yoda says, "The last of the Jedi will you be?" to Luke. A slight nod to what was going to be Episode 8, The Last Jedi, because that was always fun to speculate before that movie came out. Who's the Last Jedi? Is it Luke? Is it Rey? Well, Yoda says it's Luke, even though he was wrong. Yoda's death scene really made me sad. That was hard, even though we didn't get a lot of this character. I never noticed this until this time, but when Luke walks back to his X-Wing right before he talks to Ben Kenobi, the light in Yoda's hut just goes out. And I was like, oh.
That is sad. I noticed that.
It gave me goosebumps. All these years I've watched this, I never picked that up. This may be a loaded question. Does the whole destroying another Death Star thing bother anyone here?
No, I don't care.
Nope.
I don't care. Do it again. Make it another Death Star. You know, it'd be cool if they do like a sequel trilogy in a couple of years. Do another Death Star. Make it bigger. I don't care. 5
Death Stars all killed at once.
I kind of can't believe they didn't do some sort of planet-killing weapon. Well, they kind of did. And I'm not going to talk about it. Well, Tim hasn't seen the movie.
Nope.
Let me start my 3-part apology.
I've avoided spoilers until now.
Oh, what have I done? I think it's funny that's like it's like a silly criticism of Star Wars haters.
I think it's fun to like meme on it and just make a joke. It's like, oh, you know, we made this awesome Death Star with the incredible flaw. What should we do next? The same thing.
Yeah,
like I get it.
So we don't change it. We just rebuild it again, right? Yeah.
I just cover that hole.
One-time thing.
Because this one wasn't finished, and that's how they got in there. They didn't have the same.
Of course, they fixed that flaw, but yeah, it's just
the Emperor was arrogant and said, "We're going to use this thing now instead of hiding it in." Deep space, basically.
Right. Guys, you don't invest all that money into R&D to come up with something that's the size of a small moon and just abandon it. And just after one go?
R&D.
Come on. You spend all...
That's ridiculous.
It's just insane. Yeah.
How fast did they do that, though? I mean, my gosh. It was like 10 years for the construction of the first one, as we see in Rogue One.
That's...
And this one was only 3 years after A New Hope, if that. Right. I think it's a little less. So, just saying, the Empire's gotten pretty good at that.
Good thing they,
not a good idea. In Family Guy Star Wars, they basically are about to attack it, and they go, "Didn't we already do this?" And Peter Griffin, who's playing Han Solo, goes, "Yeah, that's what's so effed up about this." And then, the Lego Star Wars Christmas special, which we watched a ton with Daisy.
Love it.
It's so good. I love that special. They're basically showing like Rey is like kind of going back in time in a way and seeing different Jedi masters with their apprentices. And she visits Darth Vader and the Emperor. And I love the voice of the Emperor in those. It's so good. And he goes, "What about Death Star 2? And Vader goes, "I was thinking Star Killer Base." And the Emperor's like, "That's ridiculous." Then Kylo Ren comes along later on and says, "We built Starkiller Base." And the Emperor goes, "Starkiller Base." Ooh, it's just so stupid and funny. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm
those
glad you
specials are
guys
great.
are on. They're really good.
I
Really good.
think I said it last time. Like, I would love one every year. Do a holiday special every year. Same thing with the Terrifying Tales, the Halloween one. That was cool too. I love them both.
It was. Give me a Thanksgiving one next year, right? Like, let's
it.
keep this thing going. Yeah, really, really good stuff. That we talked about this. My only note is the whole speeder bike chase scene is impressive. It's so good. It looks good. It holds up. It's kind of set the standard for a lot of movies, let alone future Star Wars movies. I love the line from C-3PO on Endor when him and R2 are walking around, and 3PO says, "And you said it was pretty here." That's pretty funny. Like
That's
R2, can you imagine him being like, "Oh, it's so pretty here." Silly. When they get into the trap with the Ewoks, pretty funny that Han has kind of abused 3PO for a long time, and now 3PO is a deity, and he basically could have Han killed on the spot if he wants. Love it. Love all of that.
I love the part really quick here when they're talking to the Ewoks and he's like, "Oh, like telling them all the things," and he just keeps interrupting him. Then he's like, at the end, he's like, "Come on, I don't got all day. I've been waiting here forever." And just to me, it's just like the epitome of their relationship. As like, oh, that's kind of funny.
It's good because at first it seems like they're kind of being nice to each other, right? Like Han's like, he's calm, and then at the end he just snaps back into Han Solo hating 3PO. It's so good. Luke telling Leia about Vader and all of that and how that went down. That's an interesting scene, right? Like him telling him basically, "Hey, we're related. Also, your dad's Darth Vader." That's really tough. I know some people have an issue, and I get it, with Leia answering the question about her mother as saying she just remembers images. She's force sensitive. It's not the craziest thing in the world that she could have like a glimpse of Padme in her mind, like her real mother. But I feel like it was so gray that it was fine. And I know some people, again, people who don't like Star Wars like to bring that up as well.
That's a silly nitpick.
Dumb.
That's a silly nitpick.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense. It just makes sense. It's fine.
But also, who cares? Like, shut up.
Right, who cares?
Just shut up. I don't want to hear your opinion. Just shut up.
Nerd.
Whenever someone disagrees with you, just shut up.
Right.
That's what I say. That's what exactly what I say.
Easiest.
I like to, at the end of this, Han loses his temper because he thinks Leia was only telling Luke what was wrong, but he quickly snaps around and apologizes.
I love that.
I love the growth,
the
right?
growth in Han, which you
character
didn't expect any of that. I think you got a little bit of it with the relationship and just the way that he's so caring for Leia throughout the whole movie. But you get that scene, you're like, oh no, Han's back to his old ways. You idiot! Just give her a chance, and he gives her a chance. He grows. It's awesome.
You need to see it towards the end too, when he's talking to Leia, and Leia's like, he basically says like, "Oh, you love Luke, like it's okay, like."
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
It. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
the scene.
no.
Yeah.
No, I thought we were talking about before, like when they're on the bridge.
Oh,
Correct.
I'm thinking of this scene.
Okay, I'm thinking of that one now.
Got it.
He's like, it's okay.
That one. Are we doing like live action Spider-Man meme here?
Yes.
Remember that timestamp, everybody. I was talking about on the bridge after Luke has to go confront Vader. He just tells Leia that they're related essentially, and that Vader is their dad. And then Han Solo says, "Oh, you could tell Luke," and then he turns around and he says, "I'm sorry." Like that's the character growth I was talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. What was Tim just talking about?
I'm talking about when it's the Battle of Endor and she gets shot in the arm and they're talking and he's like,
I wasn't even thinking of that, Tim.
Oh my god, there's so many layers.
And then I'm thinking to myself,
spin the dreidel.
He finally like, it's okay, like whatever's going on with Luke, like because he still doesn't know what the true problem is. And he's
Tim,
like,
you are talking about two different scenes.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, but I'm saying in addition to that, towards the end,
I'm for sure talking about what you are talking about. 100%, Josiah. That's what I've always been talking
I get
about.
what you're saying. I'm on the same page.
There was a trigger where I was like, wait, no, John's wrong. And then I'm like, oh no, wait, no, Tim's wrong.
I'm farther along.
So you are farther along.
No, but I agree with you, but I'm just saying in addition to that.
We're also talking about almost the very end, right?
Yes.
Where Han says he will step aside, but then Leia says they're siblings.
Right.
And then it's like his face of relief, like, I like Luke. He's my
Yeah.
brother. Like, he can be my brother. I love Luke.
Yeah,
For
And
sure.
now I get to love you. Like,
That's-
yeah.
and the scenes play well together. We just didn't do a good job of being on the same page there.
What is going on? I can't believe all that was miscommunicated. Man, we don't usually struggle with that stuff. Guys, all right. Group
funny, though.
meeting after this. We got to talk. So where was I going next? Okay, that moment of the movie. There's a lot you could talk. What is that moment? That quote we've talked about a lot so far. But if you could nail one that just sticks out in your mind, okay, all right, John.
Yeah, I talked about it to the fullest extent if I could. I think, but just the opening sequence when with everything that goes on at Jabba's palace, the way this movie is introed, the way we slowly get those characters revealed, the plan that slowly unfolds that of course C-3PO didn't realize he was a part of, but R2 knew it the whole time. Like to see Leia come in and not know that that's Leia, and then the Luke entrance, and then the surprise that when Leia frees Han, that for some reason Jabba and the rest of his crew are just behind a curtain, like, surprise, we're here. Super funny. So it's funny stuff.
Bunch of creeps.
Yeah. Only thing that's
People
terrible
Toms.
about that. The only thing that's terrible about that scene is the impromptu music video, but that wasn't there in the original, so that's totally fine.
Yeah.
That whole just the setting the tone, showing us what the Jedi are, showing us how far Luke has come, and just giving us all our favorite characters again. I think it's just perfect. It's the best opening I think in any Star Wars movie, maybe besides Episode 7, but we'll get to that movie.
We will. John, you don't like the whole drumming sequence, and you don't like another reason for them to show Boba Fett walking around like a smug son of a gun?
I love how he like nods at Leia as she's dressed up. He's like,
Terrible.
does a little go nod in the corner, like, oh, another bounty hunter doing his job.
Yep.
So.
Get out of here, you stupid clone. So for me, the moment of the movie is this is maybe underrated for a lot of people. I think it's when Luke actually like gives himself up to go into captivity on Endor and meets Vader. I love that sequence. I love it. Even the looks back and forth while the Imperial officer's talking. The stormtrooper standing there.
Very similar vibes to him walking in Jabba's palace, actually. Like, fully has this under control in a very mysterious way.
That's a good way to put it, John. I agree. I love that it's like it's the first time they've really had a relatively down-to-earth conversation that was honest. And think about it. The last time we saw them, they were trying to kill each other, essentially. And Vader was never going to get there, right? Like, he was always in control. But they were very hostile last time. And this time, they're talking. They've had some time apart to kind of suss out their feelings. It's been 6 months since all of that went down. And I love Vader even with the lightsaber, turning it on, because for a second, you see in Luke's face, oh, what's he going to do with this? I don't know what the play is. And then Vader talking about the lightsaber, and even the little jab at the end that probably pierced Vader to the core, basically saying, then my father is truly dead, when they talk about the name Anakin Skywalker. It is awesome. That's the beginning of the end for Vader right there, because Vader's going to die, right? And Anakin comes back. And I really like that sequence. I think it's really special. Tim, one moment in the movie, one quote, anything like that.
Yeah, so I'll be happy to answer that. But before I start, I know we have some viewers on Twitch right now as well. But if anyone in the chat wants to post their favorite moment of the movie, feel free. We'll talk about that a little bit if anyone posted in there. But my favorite point of the movie is shortly after Joe's, where it's kind of a favorite part of the movie / quote where Luke says, "I am a Jedi like the Father before me." That's my favorite part. I kind of mentioned that, my favorite thing about this movie, character in this movie, was Luke. Just the progression, and I feel like this is the epitome of his progression, where basically Darth Vader calls Obi-Wan out because he told Luke about his sister, and then you kind of see the rage kind of come on Luke of, hey, like, I want to protect my sister, I don't want her to be converted to the dark side. And then it's kind of like hey, he kind of gives himself up again, throws away his lightsaber, and he's like, I'm a Jedi like my father before me, kind of calling out Darth Vader right then and there, that he'll know, like, he still believes in him. And that's kind of how I think the story progresses towards the end there. I love it so much. I think it's a good progression at the end. Like I said, I think I talked a little bit about earlier that I had some problems with Darth Vader, and I think the biggest problem I had is just, I feel like he was so powerful and it was so easy for Luke to kind of overpower him. But I love the way the movie progressed, and I love the ending. I just think that I was a little underwhelmed that it was so easy for Luke once he got serious to defeat Darth Vader. Would be my only complaint in the entire movie, but I love the way they did that. I just feel like it stayed true to who Luke was, and it kind of let Palpatine know, hey, I'm a Jedi, and this is what a Jedi does, and that's what it is. So,
Of note there that Luke wins that fight. I mean, granted, with the help of his father, by
Right.
throwing away his lightsaber.
Yep.
By not fighting.
Yep.
So a little bit of almost pacifism there from the Jedi point of view.
Which is what Yoda talks about in the second movie, kind of like, the main thing about a Jedi is he's defending. He's not, that's,
Yes.
and in my opinion, that's a way to do it.
It's very consistent. It's very consistent, and yeah, I that's awesome.
Good
That's a
lead-in.
really good moment to mention there. I love Luke telling that the Emperor is overconfident because he is. If we think back to Palpatine converting Anakin in Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, that is a discussion for those episodes, but he's coy about it. He's not showing his full hand right away. He's manipulating, pulling strings behind the scene to kind of push Anakin one way or another. Palpatine is not shy about wanting Luke to become a Sith or fall to the dark side in this. He is very arrogant about it. And that is a big part of his downfall. Plus, he never considered the X factor, that he would be betrayed by his apprentice, which is ironic, right? Because that's the whole Star Wars lore. The apprentices, there's the rule of 2 when it comes to Sith. And the apprentice is always betraying the master. There can only be 2. That's how it goes. So he kind of was blinded by his own arrogance there. And I think it's really, really something interesting how that plays out.
So really quick. So you're saying that Palpatine wanted Luke to join the dark side? I think I only heard it like 50 times in the movie.
No. Yeah, he was just messing with him.
No. So there was, when he was saying, like, sitting in the chair.
It was a big
and he was
farce.
like, gotcha. So when he sit in the chair and he was like, come to it meant that he wanted him to come to the dark side.
He meant like the dark side of the room, Tim. Read the room here. It's ridiculous.
Literally read the room.
No, but that was one thing that I noticed too, is like, I feel like every time that scene came up, it was like, I could feel your hate, like, come to the dark side, which I think was progression of the movie, but just watching it was almost comical sometimes because it was just like, bam, 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 bam.
Right. That's what I'm saying is he's
I like it and I don't like it at the same time.
He's not shy about it.
Yeah.
He's pushing hard and he's basically saying, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you.
And I feel like it's that confidence too. Like, he's so confident. He's like, I'm going to tell you that I can feel it and I know it. But it just, in my mind watching it, I was like, it's just funny that he keeps bringing it up.
I love the contrast from Anakin because it was never, Anakin didn't even know he was a Sith Lord for a long time, right? Like, he didn't know he was building this relationship with a guy who was eventually going to be a dictator for the galaxy. But he got there and he fell to it. And I think it's fun to see that contrast going back in hindsight to Attack of the Clones. Admiral Akbar, guys, it's a trap. Classic.
Trap.
Love it.
Just love it.
I always used to misplace where
I
that quote was. I was the first movie for whatever reason when they're going towards the first Death Star. Every time I watch A New Hope, I'm like waiting for it. I'm like, oh no, he's not in this.
Death
So
Star.
I got a question for you guys. So in the Star Wars movie, what was your most hated character? The character you disliked the most?
In this movie?
The
This
answer is the same for all movies, and it's C-3PO.
For
we
you,
can just
yeah.
we can just end the conversation.
I didn't dislike him as much as I did in the other movies.
C-3PO sucks, dude. He's the worst. What an idiot.
3PO. I understand. What an idiot.
I didn't dislike him as much. I hate him in.
What do you like about C-3PO?
Empire Strikes Back.
The best thing about nothing's the best thing about he sucks, dude.
No, he doesn't. He's definitely
We're gonna
annoying
be
in
in
Empire.
we're gonna be in all the next trilogy, and he's like, I still hate CP3O. It's
Oh, he sucks in all 9 movies.
He's not even
yeah,
every movie.
Yeah, he's the worst.
No, his best movie is Episode 9.
Fair enough. That's true. It is his best movie because he doesn't have any of his memories. Spoilers, sorry.
So I don't know that I have a least favorite. Like, I must have a least favorite, right? But I don't know. No one comes to mind that I'm just like, yeah, that character I could really just do without.
Oh, I got another one. I got 2.
I got one too.
Bib Fortuna also sucks. What a weirdo.
He's on my radar.
I hate his stupid neck. I hate Bib Fortuna.
His neck got way worse than Mandalorian, man. Wow, like he ate some food. It was crazy.
I don't know what his name is, but the fish dude that was with Londo.
With
Neen Num.
I was just like, dude,
nine nub, yeah.
Like the entire time he's like,
yeah, very weird face.
I was like, I just don't
very
need to
very
see
weird
that.
face. Like, why do you? He's like wearing 2 masks, but one doesn't fit. Very
his
weird.
tongue doesn't go in, and it's like, I don't know if it's his chin or a tongue or whatever. And I was like,
aliens. That's what he looks like. All right.
And he's like, whoa, what's going on? Like, when is the shield going down? And Lana's like, it'll go down. And he comes back, is like,
I don't know that happening, but also remember that timestamp because I want an image of Tim going. Pretty great.
Side by side, him, me, identical.
1 hour 9 minutes.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I maybe Bib Fortuna is the guy for me. Want to know
sucker.
What a weak-minded fool.
Want to know what I really like Bib Fortuna in? The Book of Boba Fett. Great character in that show. Big fan of him there.
What? All right. Smart guy over here.
Thanks, Josh. Josh Gav already. Since we're live, Josh is in the chat. He said he clipped it for us. Appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Josh. What a treasure. So I getting into the lightsaber fight a little bit here. So when Vader defends the Emperor, when Luke loses his temper and goes to strike him down, that's actually Vader defending Luke, not the Emperor. Because the whole thing is, if Luke takes down the Emperor, like he's gone to the dark side. He's committed this sin that he can't get around. That's the thought process. That's Vader saying, "Whoa, Luke, don't do this, son." And I always thought that was interesting because the first time I ever saw that movie, I didn't think about that. I was like, "Oh, he's just protecting his master." Not the case. So, Anakin's on his way back at that point. Love when Han and Leia are at the bunker. Han says, "I love you," and Leia says, "I know," back. It's just
so good.
Oh, yeah.
Great. What a great
symmetry.
callback. Yeah, their relationship is like just one of the best in like pop culture films. So good.
It is. I'm so happy
because it's not forced. It's just it is what it is. You
Right.
know, and I feel like that's why
it was
so much.
the seeds were planted the right way, and it took its time the way it needed to, and they're very much they follow the rule of opposites attract, and it just pays off great.
100%. They're the perfect opposites there, and it's a beautiful relationship. So much fun. So happy that they did decide to eventually, once we got. This is one thing I was worried about when Disney took over and they got rid of the canon and they said, "Hey, we're starting over." I was worried that they weren't going to have Han and Leia together in the long haul. So I'm happy that they did get married and we saw, they produced Ben Solo. So good stuff there. Guys, that lightsaber duel, there's so many layers to it. It's hard to not say it's one of the best in the entire saga. There's so many layers going on in terms of the thought process. Like, Luke is conflicted. He's on the verge of light versus dark. He could really go either way. Vader's conflicted over being loyal to the Emperor and being loyal to his newfound son. Luke is deciding whether to fight or not fight, and eventually he doesn't fight, and he pays the price with that Sith lightning. But then Anakin comes back. Like it's incredible. And then Luke thinking about destroying Vader because, as you mentioned, Tim, he goes crazy because Vader says, "I'm going to get your sister if I'm not going to get you." And that's such a beautiful thing for Luke. And then Palpatine being so angry that Luke would not turn, that he gets blinded by that arrogance. And he can't believe that Vader's picking him up in all of that. And he loses his life because of it. So there's so much going on there.
There is, and this is kind of just like it's a direction, but also kind of a special effects thing. I can get past how not great the Force lightning looks. That's fine. I can totally get past that. It's, very 1980. It's fine, right? 1983 effect, right? Yeah. But what I can't help but laugh at, it sort of takes me out of the scene, is that when Vader picks him up, he's still shooting the lightning straight up in the air, like very awkwardly. It's just like it's like a 1-to-1. It's just attached to his hands, it's like a video game. You see a character it's so funny.
Honestly, I totally get that. The thought processes I'm going to say through this series from Lucas and whatnot was that he was so mad that happened that he couldn't believe it. And obviously, it looks slow, right? Like, it doesn't look like it's happening very fast. Why couldn't Palpatine, the most powerful Sith ever, just turn, right? Like, or make this happen, or even, like you said, John, stop the lightning. So I can get behind that. It is a little comical, but that's the mindset for what Lucas was going for.
Fair enough. It just,
it was mid-focus, and
I don't think they had the technology to
Move his hands.
Take that vision. Move his hands. He does. He looks like a glitched video game character that just can't.
He
Like stuck in a
literally goes up and
T-pose.
he's like, yeah, he does not move.
So funny.
No, go ahead.
I'll say another one. And this is, I haven't mentioned this, but why is the falling so bad? Luke falls in the last movie. I think there's a fall down a shaft somewhere in the first movie as well. The falling is terrible. Like
a paperclip.
It just looks. There's no weight to it. It's really. Again, we're talking about the films at the late 70s, early 80s. They obviously technology wasn't great, but like we got space battles, man. Like that stuff looks good. Like why are you look so like a feather falling down a shaft?
Do you prefer that, or do you prefer 17 years, man? 16 years? 16 years later, Phantom Menace and how Darth Maul falls.
Prefer that. For sure.
You destroy a Star Cruiser, but you can't fall. That's what we've learned.
Leave it to my imagination if it's going to look like that at this point. Just like, all right, he's over the edge. I know he's gone. I get that it's really far down there. We're good to go.
I was going to just...
They do a good job of like showing the explosion at the end of the
Oh,
film.
no.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's fine. All right. You're like the people who nitpick Star Wars for the fun of it. You stop it right now.
Anyway, so we're talking about Harry Potter in this episode, right?
Why does he explode?
See me be like Luke attacking the Emperor? You bring up Harry Potter on the show one more time,
dude.
mister.
It's just special effects. It's just special effects.
Me
it's
through
fine.
the screen.
No, you have wands like the wand I broke on the ground somewhere here.
I'm waiting for Joe to pull
Snowman's arm.
I'm waiting for Joe to pull a Empire Strikes Back through the screen. 4K.
Oh my god!
Choke me out.
4K Force choke.
It's gonna happen. Trust me, especially if you keep bringing up that HP crap here. Again, I like Harry Potter. It's fine. It's okay. Vader's no was not in the original cut of this movie, and it was not added actually, I think, until the Blu-ray in 2011 or 2012 when that came out. And the no is from episode 3 when the Emperor tells Vader off the table that he killed Padme. I don't mind. The first time I heard it, I was like, that seems out of place, but it kind of fits now. I get it. I liked when there was nothing but him picking up the Emperor and not being able to turn off the lightning hands.
Yeah,
like jazz hands.
The switch was on. It's not getting off.
Couldn't get it off.
Nope.
That they had a problem like that once. Just kidding. One of many times that we see the Falcon with a new dish. So, well, actually, we don't see the new dish. We just see that it lost its satellite dish. So there's plenty of times throughout this. And this is such a merchandising thing because every time they do that, they get to sell a new Lego set for the Millennium Falcon. It's really, really smart. I like that.
And those are not cheap sets. As someone who's just gotten into Legos, you can see my NES right here below my right breast. Those are not cheap sets.
I don't know why that came off as funny.
I mean,
because I'm a child, probably.
It was supposed to be. I mean, it's kind of the intention.
Take your beer.
Okay, thank you. I'm out of the Mickey. I gotta refill here.
You should get a fridge right next to you.
We can't all be so fortunate to have Xbox fridges next to us, John. Okay, one day you and your Target run. There it is. There it is. Oh, I'm so mad right now. I'm gonna go like Luke Skywalker.
Ice
again.
cold.
The 97 special edition. When the Death Star blows up, we see everybody celebrating across the different planets. Then that edition is what brought us a few extra visuals, including Coruscant, Naboo, and Tatooine, and seeing the Palpatine statue pulled down, which I kind of love. That's pretty awesome.
Everything but Endor was added, right? Like Endor was the only. You can see it. I like it. I like the addition. It makes sense. I like the
It's really good.
It's good, but you can tell. You can definitely tell, and that stuff's fun for me.
It's one of the best additions that he made. I know some were like just meh, some were really bad. This was a good one.
Yeah.
I really like it. And also it was kind of teasing Phantom Menace in a way to say, oh, we're going to see some new planets here.
Yeah,
like
there's
you see
cities.
Gungans, which is kind of funny.
Right.
Speaking of which, I never noticed this until this watch through. Back in Jabba's palace, there's you guys know the character Sebulba from episode 1? His species is called a Dug. There's a Dug walking around in the background when I don't know if it's Luke or Chewie. Someone comes down the steps and you see him kind of like, it's so George Lucas, just kind of like walking slowly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Everyone's supposed to be asleep. That's the point of that, right? But no, of course not. Just another little tease. And then, of course, the last thing I have is the Force Ghost at the end. I love seeing those Force Ghosts there. They look really good. I said in the last episode that the trilogy here, this is the best they ever look throughout the rest of the saga, which is funny because it doesn't seem like a crazy effect. But notable that in 2004, they replaced the original Anakin Skywalker actor, Sebastian Stan. Oh my gosh,
Probably not
I get
Stan.
those two confused. No, it's Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's Sebastian Shaw. They replaced it with Hayden Christensen. Now, keep in mind, this came out in 2004. Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005, and that would have been the first real glimpse of Hayden Christensen with the longer hair.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting. But I remember watching that the first time when I got the DVD and being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. I like it. I feel like if I had the decision, I would have left the original actor in there.
I disagree. I think that you do that new trilogy and you redefine who Anakin is and you're going to show Force Ghost. I like that they went back and made the change.
I like it too. I agree with John. I think it
because I just think I would have kept the original if I had to choose.
My thought is you're showing that he's back to being Anakin and not being Darth Vader.
Right. Again, and even though certainly he was Anakin in those last few moments, but that's not the Anakin that we just learned about, and that's not the you think of Anakin Skywalker, you think of Jake Lloyd or Hayden Christensen for sure.
Jake Lloyd, can you imagine?
Hey, all right, come on, leave him alone.
Can you imagine that's the Force Ghost
star of that would be awesome.
John, star.
I was going for it. Jingle all the way, baby.
What?
Of course I'm going there.
I watched. Listen. Because of you, I watched that this holiday season for the first time, and because you love it.
What?
And I'm like,
you don't watch it every holiday because of me. You watched it?
No, this is the first time I've watched it in about probably since it was in theaters.
You're telling me everybody doesn't watch Jingle All the Way every Christmas?
No. Tim, I was kidding. We always watch that movie, right?
You nuts? John, of course you have to watch Jingle All the Way. It's like Home Alone.
Definitely not.
It's a staple, right?
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
It's unironically my favorite Christmas movie. I love it. I love it so much.
We watched a lot of Santa Claus this year. The Santa Claus series.
Yeah,
it was on all the time.
And we're getting more Santa Claus next year.
We're getting an actual Santa Claus series.
We watched that when we were kind of like wrapping gifts for the family and really had a good time watching it. It was really fun.
That's funny because that is an actual tradition that Courtney and I do. We put on Jingle All the Way when we wrap gifts. Like, no joke.
Dude, we did like all of them for my parents. And
that's ours.
That's Courtney's favorite. That's her favorite.
Can't go wrong. On this quick tangent, my favorite Christmas movie pitted against anything else, it's got to be Christmas Vacation. Home Alone 2 is right behind it, though. Yeah.
Yep. Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation and Elf and Home Alone are the top three for us.
We're on the same page here. We're all in agreement.
So next year,
no need to do shows. We're good.
We're doing Christmas
movies and reviewed. Yes.
Yes. It's happening, guys. Can't wait. Oh my gosh.
Blake loves 4 Christmases. That's one of my favorites.
So we got to do like 2 a week.
I recall that one.
It's kind of a short season,
at the beginning of 4 Christmases where they're all talking and then
I barely remember that movie.
Same.
And he's like, he pretends he's like some shy guy, and she walks away and he's like, "Bitch, I'm talking to you." It's like, it's amazing.
Classic.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the next holiday already, boys.
Yep.
All right, wrapping it up here. Star Wars reviewed. We talked a lot about Return of the Jedi. Let's get to the rankings. Let's do this, John.
We got it away.
Nervous. This is the first one.
I'm curious. I don't know if I'm nervous. I'm just curious. All right, so we got them up now. We've got Empire Strikes Back at 1, and we've got A New Hope at 2. So there's not much wiggle room here.
I think I should go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I've kind of already specified.
Hey, where are we starting this?
Number 1
at the bottom, right?
No, yeah. For me, it's third. I can't top The New Hope because that's where I first get introduced to the characters. I can't go above that. I love A New Hope a lot, but I love The Empire Strikes Back more. So I got to put it in 3.
That's fair. It's respectable. I don't think you can. I don't have much to argue there. Josiah, where you at?
I do love it, but
so most of my adult life and especially growing up, I would have firmly had this right behind Empire in terms of our trilogy here. And I can absolutely make an argument to get it there. But Rogue One changed how I looked at A New Hope and made it even better for me. So as it stands right now, I would leave Return of the Jedi in the 3rd spot.
All right. Well, the graphic already shows that I had it at 3. I was going to move it if I needed to. My vote doesn't count right now. Doesn't matter. It's locked in at 3, but I would have put it above A New Hope. I would have gone there.
Really?
Yeah.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
They're very, very close
Why?
to me.
I just think that the opening sequence, I'll keep harping on that, just to set up this movie, give us all the characters, and just to finally fulfill what we've always thought the Jedi, always thought. We had 2 movies, but like they did such a good job of setting up this crazy mythos behind what the Jedi are and what they were, and that this Luke Skywalker could be one. He's on that path, and we see it in the first 15 minutes, and it's just so cool, and it sets up the rest of the movie. And I don't know, I think Luke and Vader's stories coming full circle at the same time. I don't know. I think Endor is some of the best action right there with Hoth. I love it. I think I think A New Hope is just a little bit too slow for me when I'm talking about pitting these movies against each other. I think about the pacing of that movie. I love all of it, but I just think that both Empire and Jedi have everything A New Hope has, plus more. And of course it's that way because A New Hope had to establish the whole franchise, and we had to take that time with those characters. But I mean, you asked me which one I want to watch right now, I'm going to tell you Empire, and then if I have to pick another one, I'm going Jedi before I go A New Hope. And that's just the way I look at it.
I think it's very valid. Like, talk to me on a different day and I could have those swapped. Like, I almost talked to myself in this episode here of having that in the second spot. And where my hang up is, if there is one, is even though if I really critically look at it, I like the Jabba the Hutt stuff. It's like, it feels like half the movie where it's like Jabba the Hutt's palace, and then we go right to, all right, we're figuring out our plan to go to Endor and get the Death Star. I know that's not accurate. That's a very broad overview.
When did we do that in New Hope?
Blowing up a space station?
Maybe.
No, you're just remembering that wrong.
My bad.
So I don't know. Like I said, I could absolutely get that above A New Hope. I can't get it above Empire, no doubt. Empire's it for me. However, you can make the argument. So I totally respect, if not appreciate that opinion.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, I'm not mad at all. I think it's an incredible trilogy. I think there's a clear standout movie, and that's obviously Empire. We're all on the same page there. And I think a lot of people are going to be a toss up between New Hope and Jedi. Not something I'm going to go to bat for and use a Jedi mind trick, unless maybe we get crazy down the line and everything else is going my way, and I don't have nothing controversial to do. Maybe I'll use it and see what the people think. But curious if you're watching in the Twitch chat, if you're listening along the podcast services or watching on YouTube, leave your ranking. What do you think about the original Star Wars trilogy? Do we have it right? Do they have it right? Would I be right? I don't know.
Yeah, and I think for me, the biggest thing for me is the nostalgia is just huge for me. I just, that's the first movie you watch.
So I'm on that same page with you when I watch A New Hope. When I watch the movie, everything is hitting. The pacing feels fine. But then when I think about the movies removed from that actual, sitting down in front of the TV watching them, I just think that the highs of both Empire and Jedi, just like I think about those movies more often. There's more iconic moments, and I think I have more fun with those movies. And at the end of the day, it's Star Wars. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, for sure. I could totally get there.
But no hard feelings. It's all good.
Maybe for sure.
He says that now.
Yeah. If the rest of the shows go my way and I've got nothing else to contest, I'll see if people want to be on my side, and I'll use one of my mind tricks. We'll see.
I mean, copyright term that I created, definitely. I'm very excited.
I remember you talking about it when we first started the show.
I can mute all of you individually. I can remove you from this. I have all the power, guys. So just keep talking.
John, just wait like 10 minutes and I'll kick myself out.
Just went off. Tim just started streaming on his.
I can just put myself in the middle. I can change the rankings. I can just drag them wherever I want if I want to. So watch your step, guys.
Not a word that Joe said made it onto the actual podcast. There was just moments of silence throughout. It was crazy.
Who?
I'm very intrigued to see.
They just change your voice into Chewbacca instead.
I'm very intrigued to see where we go with the rankings. Like, this is easy, right? We're here. Like, do we segment all the prequels together? Does the sequel trilogy find its way in between? We'll obviously get to Rogue One and Solo, but Solo I think will be divisive at the end. This is part of the fun of it, so can't wait.
Right.
Love to hear what the listeners think. Definitely get involved in the comments on social media and tell us why we're right or wrong. Let's wrap this episode off here. Return of the Jedi, Star Wars reviewed. It's been a busy week, but an awesome week so far for the Geekiverse, and I think it's only going to get better. John, I feel like we've got something special on Friday that I'm forgetting about.
We do. Something pretty cool is about to go down. So we're recording this on Wednesday night. So in just 2 short days from now, we're going to be podcasting with one of our favorite people in the industry, Greg Miller from Kinda Funny. So Greg Miller is going to be joining us on Busy Sticks, our video game podcast. Awesome opportunity. Super grateful that the guys at Kinda Funny are doing this and, letting us have Greg on. But it's going to be a blast. So it's going to be live on the Kinda Funny Twitch channel, twitch.tv/KindaFunnyGames. That will be 7 o'clock Eastern time. Pretty sure it's 7 o'clock, but we'll publish that in the next couple of days just to get that schedule out there. But then it's going to be recorded, obviously, and go up on the Geekiverse YouTube and our podcast services. So can't wait. Awesome opportunity. Busy Sticks has been a lot of fun. So if you're into gaming, just check out that show in general. But a good one coming up in a couple of days.
Yes, thank you, Courtney Fick, fan of the show, for correcting us there. We appreciate that. It's our 10th episode of Busy Sticks, a baker's dozen, if you will. You'll understand the reference if you know how much we love Greg Miller. Going to be an awesome time. Tim, we've been doing a little bit of streaming lately. Why don't you talk about that real quick?
Yes, I've been streaming when I can. It's been a little crazy for me because I've been in the process of moving and all the fun stuff, but that's all done now. That's all done as of last week. So hopefully we'll get on a little bit better of schedule. If there's not a podcast going on a Tuesday or a Thursday, my goal is to try to stream. So kind of stream anything that's single player, anything that's coming out recently. I know we got the new Pokemon game coming out, so that's on my list of things to play on stream. So
which is getting great reviews, which is awesome.
Yeah,
talk about that
I'm
more
really
in Busy Sticks, but yeah, that's gonna be great.
Really excited for it. So good thing to talk about on Friday. So
lots of hype there for sure. Very exciting times here. We've talked about Busy Sticks there. We've been having a blast with talking video games every single week here. Hope you get in the conversation. Join us on social media, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Watching our shows at youtube.com/thegeekiverse or listening on podcast services around the globe. As John mentioned, we're going to be live 7 p.m. Eastern time this Friday night. That is Friday, January 28th, with Greg Miller of Kinda Funny fame. We can't wait to talk to him and have a good old time talking about chicken wings and video games and anything else that comes to mind for Greg. If you like Star Wars, you're in the right place. Check out our latest episode of Busy Sticks. We talked about 4 different Star Wars games in some way, shape, or form that are upcoming. 3 from Respawn and 1 from Traveler's Tales in the form of Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Hope you enjoy the conversation there. If you like Harry Potter, you're also in the right place. Just you got to wait a little bit longer. Maybe one day we'll do Harry Potter reviewed. But for now, I'm going to go watch Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, to get ready for next week's episode of Star Wars Reviewed. Hope you'll join us for that. It'll be a polarizing episode. We're going to talk a lot about midichlorians. It's going to be freaking awesome. For John, for Tim, I'm Josiah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you all. Have a wonderful night.